All right, check this out. I was scrolling through stupid social media, but anyway, what the devil means for evil, God can mean turn for good, you know. And I saw this this scene. You know, I'd watch The Flash and the Supergirl series after work a lot of times. I was experimenting with how a series kind of parallels your life, you know. That's how I realized that all the movies are about you. When Hollywood writes movies, they're about the human condition. Are you a human? Yeah. So all the movies are about you. Anyway, easy button. So Supergirl, she was, this will help you. If you listen to the end, this will help you. If I get to complete my thoughts, it's such a deep thought. I don't know how to finish it and do it justice. I don't know if I can do it justice. Supergirl was dealing with some dude had a gun, right? I don't know if he was, I think he was shooting either her or somebody. And because Superman and Supergirl came from another, they were able to rise, they came from another place. And when they came to Earth, they see all the fighting and the he said, she said, comparing, everybody's fighting each other, mad at each other. There's not much love down here on this Earth anymore. And Supergirl had a good heart, you know, in the series, in the movie. Superman too. There were scenes like this about Superman and Supergirl. And the Flash. There were scenes where these superheroes rose above the red versus blue, the game. And they could step above it and look down on it. And they could see that this person's fighting this person and this person fighting this person. It was all foolishness because everybody has their own. And I see it as this way. Everybody's running on a flesh program until they get born again. And then they have to renew their mind and get the mind of Christ. But they still have these programs that they're running on, you know. These judgments and these, whatever you want to call it. And so in your life, you'll see it. I've had 120 managers I've worked under. I've seen managers where they really want the employees, certain employees, to do good. They're sitting there trying to help them. Landlords, if you're a landlord, you want to help a person get off the street and just follow the simple rules. There's only 3 rules. Be quiet. Don't do anything illegal. And keep the place clean, you know. Anyway, so you have this heartbreak or this heartache at times, especially parents with their children. You know what I'm talking about if a parent really loves their child and the child is just taking too long to get to that level, you know. And so the parents love the children unconditionally, some parent. And so they have this, they've already walked the path. So they're looking at their child in all that ignorance and insanity that they're going through. But they have the Superman or the Supergirl mind, the Superwoman mindset. They're looking down on these people that are ignorant. And this is how God looks at us, right? And so if you're experiencing that and you don't think anybody sees it, we see it. We know it. Even when you are a sinner and you do wrong, God looks on your heart because God knows the situation that we're in down here. And He knows the old programs. He knows the childhood programs and all the stupid idiosyncrasies that the human goes through, you know. One time I talked to a sister in Christ for a long time. I was in the wrong. I got in a situation I shouldn't have been in, but she somehow could see through my heart that I went into it with thinking I had a pure heart about it. And then I was in a situation, but she could see that my motive was right, you know. And it was kind of a good feeling to know somebody really knew that you, even though you made the wrong choice, you were still going into it with a right heart motive, you know. And so we do that a lot. To make a long story short, I hit the wrong turn here. But to make a long story short, if you are a person that can rise above, and you've seen it in other people, you see it in yourself, and you can forgive others for being stupid or ignorant or when they hurt you or pain or whatever, they might not even want to do it. Just because you forgive them don't mean if they're doing stuff that are just bad news, don't mean you can forgive somebody and not stay in that relationship or whatever. I don't know why. I need to get some fresh air or something. I don't know what's going on in this car. But if you can see it in others, God saw it in David. Even though David took Bathsheba, had her husband killed on the front line, did all that, it took the prophet Nathan to call him and say, "You're the man." And then David fell down on his face. Instead of killing Nathan, he repented. His child ended up dying. Once the child died, he got up, washed his face, and said, "I'll see that baby in heaven, and that's my judgment, and I'm moving on." He didn't live in the past. And so and he didn't beat himself up. Nathan called him out. He repented. He got up. He went on his business. But a lot of people can give that grace to other people, even if you're not with other people anymore, or you cut that relationship off because you've seen the habit patterns are just too corrupt for you to hang around. They're not healthy. Let me say it that way. They're not healthy habit patterns. And so David washed his face, got up, and he gave himself grace. If you can give other people grace, forgive them, even if you're not with them anymore, why can't you give yourself grace? The legalism that you put on yourself, beat yourself up, is worse than that person who did all that evil towards you. You give them more grace than you give yourself. What is that about? You're trying to be God. It's pride. You're not admitting that God forgave you, just like you forgive somebody else, and the slate's clean. Doesn't mean you have to be with them, but God forgives you. The slate's clean, and you move on. He doesn't hold it. It's washed away as far as the east is from the west. And so that slate is clean, but you still keep beating yourself up. Why? And the only reason I can figure is you're tied into somebody saying, "Remember when you did this? Remember when you did this?" And it could be a mother-in-law, it could be a father-in-law, it could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be a kid, it could be anybody trying to put you back under law, under legalism. So you rose above the 3D flesh mind, you got saved, you got born again, you're in the spirit. You come back down here and you intermingle with the humans that are in the flesh mind. And even the other supermen and the superwomen out here, they have to come back down here, and sometimes they get under pressure, mental, whatever, and they do stupid stuff, and you have to forgive even them. But they always rise back up and say, "Hey, I was wrong, please forgive me," and all that. They always rise above it, admit they were wrong. Even if you don't admit you're wrong, they admit they're wrong. But usually if you have that Superman, Superwoman mindset, which is the walking in the spirit mindset, you will say, "Hey, I'm sorry." Even if it wasn't your fault, just to keep the peace sometimes. "I'm sorry," you could say it this way. "I'm sorry, your perspective. I take full responsibility, but I didn't see it that way, but your perspective is, I'm sorry that it happened, and I know you see it that way, but I see it different. But I apologize anyway. And they say, well, that's not sincere. Okay, all right. I accept your reality of how you saw it. Please forgive me. Because the human. Think about how weak the human is. The weakness of the human. Think about that. You could forget stuff. You could be running on a program from your childhood. You say stuff you didn't mean to say, and the way your body language is, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. Somebody could have been under a bunch of trauma when they were growing up. So I remembered that scene, that Supergirl scene, where she was expecting that guy. He had a gun, and he was going to shoot somebody. She was expecting him to drop the gun and rise above it, but he shot the gun. He shot the gun, and you could see her heart break, that he chose evil instead of righteousness. And her heart broke, and she just, you could see her, while she was grabbing the bullet, her heart was broke. She grabbed the bullet and stopped it, but it broke her heart. She took the bullet, hit him back. She didn't kill him. She just, So sometimes these people are in the flesh and they need to be hit back, but you don't want to do it. But you got to give the tit for tat sometime. But you don't want to do the tit for tat because it's not really what you want to do, and it's not really. You're just trying to wake them up. The tit for tat is not to hurt somebody. It's try to wake you up. Wake up. Wake up. You're in the flesh mind. Walk in the spirit. Quit being stupid. It's not who you are. You can rise above it. Don't fall to the devil. It's almost like this. Don't fall to the devil's program. Rise above the devil's program.